Welcome back to the Classical Pairings Host Challenge, brought to you by the National Bank of Indianapolis. I am your host, Nick Johnson, and we're going to be doing a fun little series here of episodes aimed specifically at fall. I'm going to be trying to come up with some cocktails paired with some music that I think capture this season as well as we can. Fall has always been my favorite season. You can tell by looking at me that I'm a ginger, and summer and I don't necessarily get along. There's a little bit too much sun there for me, so I love it when it turns into fall and I can go back outside again. But it's not just that. Fall, I love the sound of marching bands. I love the fact that concert halls start to open back up and I can go see symphonies and operas and all sorts of fun things. I love the colors. I love the taste, the smells, campfires, pumpkins, everything that goes along with it. So we thought this would be a lot of fun to mix some music and some drinks so that you can really celebrate this season with me. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first piece of music that we're going to be listening to is by Edvard Grieg. This is his Overture in Autumn, written in 1865. And so if you're not familiar with Grieg, he's a Norwegian composer. He is a little bit to Norway what Sibelius is to Finland, if you happen to know who that is. Basically what I mean is that Grieg uses folk music from Norway, different ideas, melodies, and harmonies that he thinks in some ways sort of instills the music with this rich folk tradition, while at the same time being the same harmonic and melodic language of romantic music from the rest of Europe of the mid-1800s. This piece is a very youthful piece. He was actually 22 when he composed this. It's so definitely one of his earliest compositions that's still performed somewhat regularly. But it's performed regularly because it's the way that he captures the essence of this season that is in these beautiful sort of scenes, or this tableau where we get to see and hear and experience multiple different sort of levels of what fall is like. Sometimes fall is a bright, crisp, sunny morning. Sometimes it's a cold, rainy night. Sometimes there's beautiful leaves on the trees, and sometimes eventually those leaves fall. And then it's some kind of a different mood. And Grieg captures that very well in this celebratory piece. Sometimes his music is very dark. Sometimes it's very cheerful. Sometimes it sounds like everybody's together celebrating and toasting the season. So to come up with a drink that I thought sort of matched this, would be the perfect thing to sip on while listening to this piece, I wanted to do something that was a sort of a sensory overload. I wanted something that looked amazing, that smelled amazing, and most importantly, tasted amazing. And something that you could enjoy with friends, that you gather around during this time, some of our last outdoor gatherings of the season around a bonfire or something. And so I've decided here to do a mulled cider with cinnamon vodka, using a local vodka and some other ingredients. This is actually a recipe. My good friend Gideon Sears, who is a local musician, came and they made a pot of this, and it was simply fantastic. The house smelled amazing for a couple days. The drink was amazing for a couple days. We were actually mixing with rye whiskey that night, and rye whiskey tastes good in everything, so I would definitely recommend that. But I wanted to try something local, and I think maybe something that's a little bit more of a crowd pleaser, and that is the cinnamon vodka from Hard Truth. Now, I have used some of Hard Truth's spirits in this show before. I keep going back to them. They're down in Brown County, although they also have a spot at the Bottle Works where you can go check out some of their spirits. And they're just simply fantastic. Everything I have from these people is amazing. I don't usually go for flavored vodkas. They're usually a little too sweet for me. They're also, I don't know, I pride myself in being able to make a really good cocktail. And I don't necessarily want the bottle to have already done the work for me. So I like coming up with my own flavors. But this thing very much impressed me. In fact, I kind of scared my wife when I gave this a sip yesterday, when I sort of screamed very loudly how delicious it was. Because every bottle I buy from them is fantastic. And so this vodka it's not overly sweet. It's definitely a little sweet. I prefer it in a cocktail than maybe drinking it straight. Or I would maybe drink this on ice. After just a minute to let a little bit of the water kind of cut the sweetness. But it literally tastes like fall. I don't know what else to tell you. It smells heavenly and earthy and delicious, with a very sweet, easy to take sort of flavor. But the beauty of this drink that we're going to be making today is that you don't have to put this in. We're actually not going to be putting this into the pot. I'm going to be adding this here in just a minute. So this is a great one to have with friends and family, so that if there are people who aren't drinking or children or things like that, you could offer them this delicious mulled cider and not including the vodka, and they would be, I think, perfectly happy. So what we're going to do for this mulled cider is we have, first of all, this fun and amazing looking thing. So this is just an orange that I have put maybe about 30 cloves that I just poked in. It smells fantastic, this mix of clove, and there's just a little bit of orange juice starting to kind of leak out. You can also see that I took a little bit of zest off the edge of this orange before I did that. Also in the pot, we're going to be putting in some cinnamon sticks that give just a little bit more. A little bit of star anise. We have some allspice berries. I'm sorry, I know this isn't super easy to see. We have about 7 of these allspice berries, and then we have the zest that I mentioned earlier from the orange. And so all of this is going to go into our pot. This would be pretty similar to how you would do a mulled wine or things like that. Mulled cider just sort of captures the season really well. I always do mulled wines around Christmas, and I'm sure I will again this year, but this is the perfect mulling for October or November. So this is all going to go into the pot. We're then going to dump a gallon of cider on top of this, and we're going to bring this to a simmer, and we're going to let this simmer for about an hour. And so we're going to go ahead and do that, and we'll show you what happens to this and what it looks like whenever we get back. I'll be just with you. All right, we are back. We have been simmering this cider for a little over an hour. I can tell you that the house smells unreal. I really wish that you could smell this. I know it probably doesn't look quite as beautiful as it smells, but there's, you can see here all of our beautiful, here's our orange with the cloves on it. We have all the cinnamon, the star anise, everything is swimming around in here, getting very happy. To be honest, I'm probably going to let this just kind of play along for a little while and then probably just dump it back into the jug that it came in. But really, this just smells wonderful. It's fruity, it's herbal, it's obviously got a strong apple flavor, but it's really just like the perfect smell for fall. There's nothing that could really be better. So let's go ahead and finish up our drink here. Remember, I said you could just drink this as is if you don't want to have any alcohol in it, and it's going to be really quite fantastic. If you'd like to enjoy this season a bit more with a bit of booze while you're listening to this piece by Edvard Grieg, I'm going to just do, it depends on the size of the glass. For a glass this size, which I chose just because it looks nice, I'm only going to give this about 1 shot. If I had a nice large coffee mug, I might put 2 shots of this in. But so this is 1 shot of that Hard Truth cinnamon vodka, or 1 ounce. We're just going to put that in. And now I'm just going to top this with a generous scoop of this mulled cider. One thing I like about doing the cloves this way, if you do some mulled drinks, the cloves often end up sort of swimming and everything. But keeping it in the orange like this keeps them all together, so you don't end up with a glass full of cloves that you're kind of choking on. But, all right. I mean, even just the smell is amazing. It's even richer with the cinnamon, with the vodka in it. This also makes it just a little bit sweeter. Absolutely the perfect drink for a fall season that's just starting to get a little bit chilly. You need to be warmed up just a little bit. You can make a pot of this, share it with friends and family, listen to this beautiful piece of music in autumn, and enjoy the season. So, Classical Pairings is a listener-supported program. If you like what you hear, you can text PAIR, P-A-I-R, to 202-858-1233 so that we can keep bringing you future episodes pairing classical music with local craft food and beverages. I would like to thank Hard Truth for continuing to make such fantastic products, and also my good friend Gideon Sears, who gave me the recipe for this idea. I'd also like to thank our production assistant, Chloe Bolter, and our producer, Ezra Baker-Tripiano, for their great work, and of course, our friends at the National Bank of Indianapolis for their generous support. Cheers!